Right, I'm back. I'm going to make a nice curry today. Right, so what I've got here is 4 chicken breasts which I've just sliced into strips, and then I've mixed with 2 tablespoons of Greek yogurt and about 2 or 3 tablespoons of curry powder. I've used my own mix, made my own mix, but feel free to make your own or just use store-bought curry powder. This has been left in the fridge overnight, so it's now ready. I'm just going to basically cook it under the grill at a high temperature and get some nice colour on there, nice char. So one of the reasons that you want to keep them kind of into long strips like this is, well, firstly, it's easier to kind of turn. You don't want to be turning, you know, loaded chunks on the under the grill, unless you was obviously skewing it, in which case then go for it. But also, it retains more moisture when you keep it whole like this, and then once it's cooked, you can just chop it up before you put it in your curry. So that's the reason to kind of keep it into long strips like this. All my chicken is on the tray, as you can see. That's going to go under the grill. It's on the max setting, and we're going to cook that until it's nicely kind of charred on top, and then we're going to turn it and then char the other side, and then that should be good to go. Now, before I make the sauce, you might have heard, if you've seen videos online about making curries, you might have heard the term base gravy being used a lot. Now, what base gravy is, it's basically what the Indian restaurants use in this country, in the UK, as kind of the base for all the curries that they make, whether it's, you know, a Madras, whether it's tikka masala, vindaloo, balti, whatever. And it's just so that they can, you know, make curries quickly and to order. For this curry, what I'm going to be making, I'm going to be making sort of a hybrid of a base gravy. So I've basically got I've got 3 onions here, about 450 grams, 400 grams. And what I'm going to do is going to boil them for about 10 minutes and then take them out. I'm going to keep 500 mils of the water that it's been boiling in for the sauce, and I'm just going to blend these down and make them into a paste essentially, and that will help give that kind of Indian restaurant style sauce, which you'll see at the end. So let me go with the onions. Well, it looks crazy, but give these a boil for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to give them a blitz, but keep the water. Right, so the chicken is now cooked. And then, as you can see, there's a lovely, nice colour on there. I don't know how long it took. It was just, the grill was on max, and it was until it was nicely coloured both sides. I'd say probably about 15 minutes or so, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes each side, something like that. So all I'm now going to do is just chop that up into the size chunks that I want and put that on a plate. And then this should be ready to go in the curry sauce when the time comes. Right, let's run through these ingredients now before I make this curry. So I've got the chicken, which I've cut up, which you've just seen. I've got the onions, which I boiled and then just blended up. This rags your eyes, by the way, so be careful. I have about 3 tablespoons of garlic and ginger, which has just been finely grated. I've got 4 cracked cardamom pods. I was going to put cinnamon in as well, a little small stick of cinnamon, but I accidentally bought cloves. Don't know how I did that, but there you go. The spice mix in here, so what I've got in here is 2.5 tablespoons of my own blend of curry powder, a tablespoon of hot chili powder, mild chili powder or a bit less if you want, it's up to you, a teaspoon of Kashmiri chili powder, half a teaspoon of tandoori masala powder. That's the main spice mix. I'm also going to add in a tablespoon of soy salt, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of kasuri methi, which is just basically dried fenugreek, a splash of Worcester sauce, the juice of half a lemon, a pinch of garam masala at the end. Don't forget there's garam masala in the curry powder, so that's why it's not kind of been mentioned up until now. I've got tomato puree. So what I've done, I've got 6 tablespoons of tomato puree, which I've just mixed with a little bit of water. That's just so it goes in the pan easier. There's no real measurement to the water there. Speaking of water, when I boiled the onions, I saved 500 mils of that water. And I've also got some coriander for garnish at the end. So that's about it. So let's get on with making this curry. Just forgot 150 ml of olive oil. Now 150 ml sounds like a lot, but this is going to serve 4 to 6 people, so when you divide it up, it's not actually that much. But, you know, feel free to, at the end, skim it off the top if you want with a bit of, you know, kitchen paper or whatever. But please make sure that you do put the oil in, because it really does make a difference. You can use veg oil if you want instead of olive oil, if that's all you've got, but I much prefer olive oil. It's, you know, as oils go, it's a lot better for you. So, yeah. Right, so pan's heating up nicely. In with the oil, in with the cardamom pods. So we're going to cook this down for about 10 minutes. After 8 minutes, I'm going to throw in the garlic and ginger paste. Right, it's been about 10-12 minutes now. Left it a little bit longer because this hob isn't that powerful. So but all the water's you can tell, I can tell just by looking at it, by listening to it, and it's just more sizzling now and frying than actually, you know, the water coming out. So now for the next 2 minutes, I'm just going to throw in the garlic and ginger mixture and just fry that off for another couple of minutes. You don't want to. The reason I put the garlic and ginger in now is because if you always put that in at the beginning, it would just burn and the whole thing would be ruined. So I'm just ever so slightly. Again, this hob isn't the most powerful in the world, but you know, you might want to start getting a little bit of colour on your onions, just starting to go a little bit golden brown. But again, we don't want to burn the onions because your curry will be ruined. Okay, so now I'm going to add my spices into this and start to create our paste. So in they all go like that. And just work that round for a minute. Incorporate it all in with the onions, the ginger, the garlic. It smells incredible, guys, honestly. All that work of getting all that water out of the onions to bring out the natural sweetness, it's going to pay off at the end. So now I'm going to add my tomato puree mixture. Again, there was no real measurement to the water, it was just so I could get it into the pan easier from in the bowl. But feel free, if you want to just measure out 6 tablespoons straight in, then go for it. And again, we just want to just, for a minute or so, just cook out the rawness from the tomatoes. Colour's amazing, it smells incredible. Right, so if you was using raw chicken, you would put it in at this stage, but because I'm using cooked chicken that you saw me cook earlier, that's not necessary. So all that needs to go in now is the 500 ml of water that we used to boil the onions with. Just give that a nice mix. Looks very watery now, but what we want to do now for the next 10 minutes is going to be, you know, lid on, reduce the heat slightly, and we're going to just let all the flavours and all of the sauce come together and cook nicely. And then the last 10 minutes, so lid will be off, chicken will be in, and it will be about reducing it down and getting that concentration of flavour and fine tuning. So as you can see, it's starting to come to the boil now, so I'm just going to reduce the heat slightly. That's probably on, out of 9, it's on a 6. Lid on. I'm just going to leave that for 10 minutes or so. Come back in 5, just give it a stir. You don't want to, you know, anything to catch at this stage. Right, 10 minutes is up. Look at that. Look at the colour of that. It smells incredible. So as you can see, the oil is coming to the top nicely. It's still quite loose, it's sauce now, so for the final 10 minutes this is where we kind of start to fine tune the flavours. So, in we go with the chicken. So obviously this chicken's already cooked, so this is literally just about bringing it back up to temperature and cooking it through once more. You don't want to, this is why you put it in at this kind of final stage, you don't want to overcook the chicken. So in that goes, I'm going to add a splash of Worcester sauce, the juice of half a lemon goes in, about a teaspoon of salt, and then the kasuri methi, about a teaspoon. All you do, just get it in your hands, just get it all in there like that. And then we just want to pinch of the garam masala, like so. So final 10 minutes guys, lid off this time, because obviously we want to reduce it down, and I'm going to put some rice on. Right, so at the last minute guys, just going to throw in some chopped coriander. This smells amazing, honest to God. I think this is as close as you're going to get to restaurant style curries in your home. Lovely. Right, let's plate up. Check that out guys. Stunning. Oh my God. That is phenomenal. I think that's one of the best curries I've ever made at home. Cheers.